Okay, this will go on unspokenautobiography.com. I want to talk about my father's family, the Smiths. Okay, so a little background information. My grandmother, my father's mother. I'm trying to get this glare off my glasses. It's not going to happen. Just deal. Okay, so my grandmother, my father's mother, she was an orphan. And I think that has to do with slavery and such. That's an extension of that shit. But my grandmother was a twin, and they were both orphans, okay? So my grandmother and her sister were robbed of their families, their family life. So they came into this world at a deficit, okay? So my grandmother passed this deficit on to their children. My father would tell me stories where he'd save up to buy his mom a dress for her birthday. And she'd turn her nose up at it and tell him it was the wrong color. So the reason my father sells me out or sacrifices me, I'm the sacrificial lamb of my father's second marriage, is because he's so desperate for nurturing, maternal nurturing, the love of a woman. But it's not love, it's manipulation. Because you can't use white supremacist government, white supremacist religion, and codependency issues, which is mental illness. You can't use white supremacy and mental illness to rob me of my roots. I don't care if it's normalized or not. This is normalized mental illness. It's codependency. Look it up. And yeah, so my father always, he supported the reflection of himself he sees in me. So the money he spent on me throughout my life was not for my own benefit. It was to make me into what he wanted me to be. Okay. So the emptiness, such emptiness that my grandmother would pass. My grandma was Lorraine. She died as Baker, I think. Lorraine Baker. Lorraine Smith. Lorraine Baker. And of course, my grandfather's Charles William Smith Sr. But anyway, my grandmother would accuse my Aunt Lisa, my dad's sister, of fucking her father. So, like, there's some real demons. My father told me this. She would lash out at her daughter and accuse the daughter of fucking her own father. Yeah, it's some deep shit. So, like, my grandmother passed down all types of demons and emptiness to my extended Smith family. Well, the reason I'm saying all this or saying this is because my extended cousins and stuff and aunts have never reached out to help me, no matter how much I am targeted. And that's because they've always been jealous of the money my father had. Okay. So they were jealous of me because I had a rich father. Okay. So they stay silent and complacent, whatever, with the abuse and trauma against me so that they can mooch off my father and ask my father for their rent every other month, like my Aunt Lisa and my Aunt Carolyn does. And my Aunt Carolyn's son, Joey, he outed me to the family when they found out he was fucking gay. So he tried to displace focus on to me as being like, oh, Trey, they call me Trey because I'm the third. Oh, Trey's gay. And he would say things like, yeah, I may like transsexuals, but that nigga Trey is gay. Okay. And so as far as my brothers go, the Smiths, Chris and Corey, it's like they mom and they grandmother have their mind trapped with their approval. They're seeking the approval of their mama and their grandmama, and they care about the judgments of them. So although they may love me from the heart, they never reach out to me. They never say shit when I'm abused or alienated from the family, or the scapegoat from the family. They use the fact that I'm an artist and a philosopher and gay and the child of the prior marriage to make me out to be crazy. But when the truth is, my father is the one that's crazy. He has major codependency issues. It's true about America and mental illness and guns. He flaunts around the idea of this gun like it makes him some type of man. And like one day he was picking me up from work because he doesn't leave me room to exist. And so he acts like he's saving me only to knock me down, which he wound up doing. But one day he picked me up from work and we're riding down a major road and no one cut him off. This is an example. No one cut him off. And he got mad because the car in front of him switched fucking lanes. And he gets irate. And I'm in the car just trying to make it home. And he pulls up next to this car and starts cursing at this driver. And I'm like, Dad, stop. This person may have a gun. What are you talking about? And my dad flips on me and says, I have a gun too. And it's just, when mental illness and guns and America, this is some fucked up shit. So, yeah, I think that's it. There's not a whole lot to say about the Smiths. They're just jealous of my father's money and like to mooch off him, and therefore they never reach out to me, so I owe them no kind of fucking loyalty. Yeah, and my grandmother, she also told me later in life that it's okay for me to be who I am, which is fine. That's nice of her. But she also accused my Aunt Lisa of fucking her own daddy. And yeah, stuff like that. Oh yeah, and she told me how she I shouldn't say that. Like, out of all things, I probably shouldn't say this. Oh, okay. So anyway, I was having a heart-to-heart with my grandmother, and my father's there, and she was telling me how she got some sex from the grocery store from a younger man, and I'm like, who's out here trying to fuck my grandmama? And then I hear through my father and aunts and such that she doesn't know what she did with her money. Bitch, I know what she did with that money. She bought her some dick. That's exactly what happened. Anyway, the Smiths of Louisville, Kentucky. So if I wasn't who my father wanted me to be, he'd tell me I didn't deserve to be a part of the family, or he'd call me a liability. So he'd knock me down if I wasn't. He'd build me up just to knock me down if I wasn't who he wanted to be. So he'd sabotage my life time and time again. And he'd sabotage my life and then look at me and tell me that I'm a liability.